All right, pretty simple here. I've got a couple different bands. I've got a purple little medium one and then a little thicker green one here. Let's get started on our internal and external rotation. I'm gonna get inside the band, get it nice and high up into my groin there. Got a little pad here for my knee if you need one. But I'm gonna pull this sucker out laterally. Come to my knee. That might be a little far. Here will be fine. Now, if you have any impingement into this hip or any little bit of pain inside that hip, then try to go out a little bit further to get a little bit more tension in the band, see if that alleviates anything. Obviously, if that doesn't help and you still have pain, then we need to talk or talk to somebody. But you can use the band to really open up laterally here and start to work an internal and external with the hip. As I go external here, I'm squeezing my right glute. One internal, one external, two, three, four, kind of hold for a second, four, good. Now, 10 to 15 reps is what I usually like to do. Then, before going to the other side, you can come right to, facing the other direction, get right up behind the top of the hamstring on a gluteal fold, and let's hit the hip flexor from the front here. Really work on getting tall. Drive the down knee through the floor, tuck this tailbone, and squeeze this right glute. I really want to pry those hips open with my glutes as best I can. Let this band kind of distract a little bit on that front hip. Now, same thing, obviously, onto the other side, where we take that knee, start to work our internal, external rotations, squeezing that glute. And coming back, hitting the hip flexor here as well. Tall, driving, active to the knee on the floor. Tuck that tailbone, squeeze that glute, pry this hip open. Now, after this, immediately grab the smaller band, one size down. That green actually works. I just prefer a smaller one. It's a little bit easier to kind of cover right over the talus here. Now, you don't want this band up too high. You want it right over the talus on the top of the foot here. Okay, so don't have it sitting up too high on the front of your shin or on the top of where the shin is, like right below where that shin connects in to the foot, right on the talus. So I can just bring this out a little bit as far as I can. I can just come down onto a knee, and I focus on driving my heel through the floor as my knee is reaching forward, okay? Driving my heel down as my knee is reaching forward and my foot is engaged into the floor. I can start to just kind of pump that a few times too. Again, spend a little bit more time, obviously, just going through these kind of quickly for you. Again, right over the top of the talus, not too high. Get out a little bit, come down to my knee. First, I start my heel drive in tension. I'm really dorsiflexing, pulling my foot up as my heel's driving down, and my knee can start to kind of reach forward. You notice the difference on side to side? That's a good thing to maybe go back to that time or spin back to that side or spend a little bit more time there, okay? So we've got our internal, external rotation with the band, a little distraction there. We've got our hip flexor distraction and that little ankle mobilizing band drill. Now, we're gonna come over to a wall. We have 3 things we're gonna do here. First one, I get kind of close up to the wall, not all the way up like my walls sit, but I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna find a good 90-degree position here. Now, if your hip has pain during this, try to scoot back a little bit if you need, but you can kind of work yourself as close as you can, and you'll see as we get going, but always scoot back a little bit if you have pain. Now, my feet need to be engaged into the wall. At no point are they just here. They are engaged, gripping, and active into the wall. I'll take my left foot first, cross it over my right knee, and I'm active through my left foot. Actively dorsiflexing the toes and the foot to light this shin up. And all you can do is just relax. Relax the rest of the body, keep this active, and just breathe, keep the foot engaged, at least into the wall. And you'll hold this for 1 minute on each leg. Reposition myself, get myself nice and engaged, take this foot over the top, active with the foot, and just start to breathe for a minute. Now, after a minute on each of those, I get a little closer to the wall, and I get up into my wall stretch position. Now, this is an active part of this, okay? So for the first minute that we're gonna hold this first position, we're gonna be active the entire time, meaning this is where I am normal, kind of passive. Now I'm gonna actively pull these toes back, reach to those heels, and lock my kneecaps out, flexing my quads. I'll hold this position for 1 minute, just breathing, tension, locking this out, feeling it in my belly. I'm not lazy here, really working my toes back, really trying to lengthen through the heels. Feels good, but it also sucks. And 1 minute, all right. Now, keep the same action. You cannot let this activity go. Keep that same activity and start to open up just as much as you can while you can still maintain nice, good action without spilling the feet over, losing the tension, losing, locking, and flexing the quads. And you will hold that position for 1 minute. Active with the feet, lengthening through those heels. Now, a couple more things. So, we've got 3 positions on the wall. We do a minute on each one. On those last 2 wall stretch positions, stay active the whole time. Don't get passive. Stay active, okay? Now, the last couple of things, we are going to, let me grab my tennis ball here. We are going to grab a ball of some kind. This is not a tennis ball, but it's a little ball that will work just fine, just like a tennis ball. Now, I'm going to put this ball between my ankles and get my feet nice and lined up here, square, and focus on some nice calf raises. I come up high onto the ball, the big toe pad of my foot, and I still keep the engagement of the ball between my ankles. As this becomes super easy, you can start to do it from an elevation so that you can have a little bit more of the eccentric portion as well. Drive those big toe pads through the floor, squeeze those glutes, Get nice and tall and feel those heels squeeze onto that ball. Now, directly after that, we'll hit the front side. So we just hit the calf raise with kind of a little placement in between our heels to give us a nice guide as we're working on tracking through those calf and through the fascia and the tissue. So from here, let me get to actually I can use this, let me use it this way. As long as I can lean my butt up against something and my legs are locked out nice and straight, okay? Pull my kneecaps up, quads are flexed, and all I'm gonna do is drive up onto my heels, pull my toes back, nice dorsiflexion, and come down. Hold up, hold for a second, and back down. Up, hold, and back down. Up, hold, and back down, okay? Little tib raises. So we have our calf raise and our tib raise. There on our calf raise, there's obviously other variations we can go through of being like elevated single leg variations are another one we progress to after that. But just what I want you to experience with the ball between there is start to see if you feel a difference from side to side in some of that lower leg compartment tissue, okay? A lot of times you'll feel the inside, so to say, just kind of making up stuff, the inside of one a lot more lit up than the other, and you know that things are just kind of firing a little bit differently, and you'll always kind of pair that up with how your ankle's moving, how those hips feeling in the other stretches. So rebalance, realign the body from the ground up, okay? One more stretch over here. We'll take our pad. You can use any wall. I like to use these, they're nice and soft, but we'll get into our hip flexor stretch, okay? So I get my knee pretty close to the wall. I can obviously, if it's really, really tight, I can move it out, but you can kind of figure out where you're at. Get my knee close to the wall, I bring my other foot up, and at first, if this is excruciating, just hang out here. Hang out here, breathe, actively kind of rock around, move, think about lengthening through your chest, getting long, and then slowly, over the course of a minute or two, you can work your way up, and you can start to continue to move, and maybe every once in a while, a little thing I like to do is press my back foot, the top of my foot, I actively press it into the wall for a second. Squeeze that glute and relax. Just kind of a little P&F, little help there. You can relax into a deeper range. I can get taller and kind of sit up here all the way and relax. Now, obviously we do that on both sides, so we can easily set up on the other. And again, with a lot of these, if one side is a lot tighter than the other, and I can feel it, I'll always go back to that at the end. Doesn't have to be very long, but just go back and hit it again. So if my left was a lot tighter than my right, I'm doing my right now, I'd go back and hit my left again. If they feel pretty normal by this time, you should be pretty good.